Good afternoon and welcome to our presentation about professional development at Villanova Law. Before we get started, I'm going to share my screen and hopefully you'll be able to see the little slideshow now. We are so excited to speak with you about professional development here at Villanova. And I'll start first with some introductions. I'm Jennifer Henfey. I am the Associate Dean for Professional Development and Leadership here at Villanova. I am a graduate of the law school, and I have been here since 2011, working with students in their career paths and their career success. After Villanova, I went to private practice in a large law firm where I was a partner in the financial services practice, which means that I represented large financial institutions and companies in commercial finance matters. And there I also served as the hiring partner and was involved in hiring and recruiting for about a decade. And I'm really have been so thrilled to be here. Amelia, I'll turn it to you.
Thanks, Jen. Hi, everyone. My name is Amelia Curotto. I'm a 2017 graduate of the law school, and I was in practice for a number of years with a regional civil litigation firm here outside of Philadelphia doing medical malpractice defense. And I just joined the team back at the law school this past year, and I am now the Associate Director of Employer Outreach. So welcome, everybody, today.
Janine, you're next.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janine Dunlap Kiah. I am the inaugural Director for Public Service and Pro Bono Initiatives. I am a 2007 graduate of the law school. Very excited, like Amelia and Jennifer, to return and to work in our community in this capacity. Right after law school, I was a state clerk, or a state judge level law clerk in New Jersey for family law. And I stayed in that path, and I was a family law practitioner in first the private sector. And then immediately before joining the law school last year, I was director of the family law section of a local legal aid organization. Thanks so much for being here.
Jules.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julia, or Jules Moscato Besselman. I'm the Director of Professional Development and Leadership. So you'll interact with me around all things the professional development curriculum, which we'll hear a little bit about in a little. Prior to this role, I was overseeing a professional development program for student athletes at the University of Delaware. So if there are any blue hens in the room, go blue hens.
Thanks, Jules. And you can see from this slide that there are many, many more individuals on our team here at Villanova to support you in your career journey. And you can learn more about them and their bios on our website. There's lots of great information there. Okay, so that's a little bit about us. Now let's talk about, I'll advance the slide, what we mean when we say professional development. When we think about professional development at the law school, we think about your professional journey from law student to legal professional in your chosen career. And we can think about this in three ways, or sort of like three categories. Your professional development and the formation of your professional identity, which here is grounded in values, ethics, well-being, cross-cultural awareness, and academic success. The second prong is your career journey, right? From your 1L summer associate all the way through your various externships and internships, other experiences that you have to build your skills onto launching your career post-graduation. And the third prong we think about is, along with all this other work, we have values, and we value in that our commitment to pro bono service and creating a community of Villanova lawyers who share this ethic, no matter their chosen field. So no matter what area of practice you go into, what practice setting you go into, you can contribute to the common good by participating in pro bono. So why do we take this sort of holistic approach when we think about your professional development, that it's not just the jobs you get or the job you take after graduation? It's because in our experience and in practice and at the law school, we've seen over and over a pattern of success for students who have self-awareness and understanding the profession and the demands of practice and a strategic direction. And all these things really lead towards that success. Okay, let me advance the slides. So let's put that into some context for you. A generation ago or more now, one went to law school for academic skills, and the first jobs were apprenticeships where employers trained young associates and lawyers, and you learn the realities of practice on the job. Over time, employers changed and the demands of clients changed, and employers were no longer providing this training and structure and really expected new hires to come to the table with a certain set of skills. As all of this evolved in the practice, law schools didn't change. So this gap was created between what employers expected and how graduates were prepared leaving law schools. At Villanova, we saw this as a challenge and a way to distinguish our graduates. So we jumped on this. We talked with employers to understand their needs, to define that skills gap. And we studied there's a lot of studies out there on it too. And so we focused on all of those things to really define those skills and think about that gap. Talk about that gap next. So when we developed our professional development curriculum, we spoke with employers of all types and sizes. We referred to all those studies to define that skills gap. And I'm curious from all of you, and you can put this into the chat, what skills do you think employers identified? What do you think makes a new lawyer successful in the first years of practice? Just drop that into the chat. Attention to detail, absolutely. Empathy, resilience, communication skills, lots of ambition. Terrific. Writing skills, absolutely. I think I just saw the ability to adapt. I like that. That's in there too. Research skills, forming relationships, legal research, absolutely. Emotional intelligence, diligence, work ethic, time management, flexibility, problem solving, all great answers. Okay, now here's your first quiz from me. What skills do you think were actually taught in a law school curriculum, right? We mentioned some of these things, critical thinking, analysis, writing, right? But there are lots of things on your slide or in your chat that aren't taught in the law school curriculum. Lots and lots of other skills. Things like leadership and teamwork skills, emotional intelligence, intercultural awareness, networking, grit, growth mindset, digital literacy, right? All these things are not really taught in a traditional law school curriculum unless you come to Villanova, where we tackle these things through our professional development curriculum. Okay, so let's talk more about that. So with all of this knowledge, right, and all the things that you identified and employers identified, in 2013, we launched a 3-year mandatory professional development curriculum. And through this curriculum, we're teaching, nurturing, and modeling the professional competencies and characteristics that are so vital. The things that you identified, the things that employers identified, the competencies that help you make that transition from student to professional. And just like the acquisition of knowledge and legal skills is a process that you start in law school, right? You take your courses, you build skills, you build knowledge throughout your career. The professional skills and characteristics we're talking about can also be taught. And so we're really focusing on that in professional development. We're really designing to build that framework for you to build these skills and attributes. So professional development is about things like building those skills and attributes employers identified, but also setting goals for yourself and charting a path to achieve those goals. It's about creating networks, creating and building your professional identity. So we work on some core competencies that we've listed out here, things like professionalism and strategic planning, professional independence, project management, communication skills, and entrepreneurial skills. Okay, so how do we do this? What does this mean for you? So the 1L course is a bit more structured, right? And it's timed to coincide with a typical job search timeline, because we want to make sure that you are doing the things that you need to do for success right out of the gate when you need to do them. But it's tailored towards each of your goals, right? So you are going to define your definition of success, and we're going to work with you to achieve that. We don't want to, define success for you. We want you to define that and work towards those goals. So the first way you do that is self-assessing and creating a professional development plan, which is sort of the strategic plan for how you're going to go about achieving your goals. We go through, we have you evaluate your strengths and places that you have interest and help you translate those into practice skills. We importantly work on building those first law school academic skills to set you off on a strong footing. We work on something called Giving Voice to Values, which is a program that our faculty have adapted from business schools to teach professional ethics and giving voice to those ethics. It's really unique to Villanova. We also do education around practice areas and ways to use your JD, really learning about the realities of practice and the practical application of the education you're receiving. Of course, we work on things like job search skills and resumes and mock interviews and mock networking. We work on Clifton strengths. Many of you maybe have already touched on that before, and working with those strengths to build self-awareness and resilience. We work on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in the profession. And we discuss how to be successful in those very first summer internships. So all of that is setting you up for that success in your first year and after. In the 2L and 3L years, you really get the opportunity to take more control of your individualized professional development. A lot of this work becomes self-directed so that you can decide what path you want to go down, and we're guiding you through that. So you refine your goals, right? You do some more self-assessing, you update your plans. We have a strong focus on the ethics education I mentioned. We work on professional networking, informational interviews, and we build skills and knowledge necessary for success in your 2L summer and post-grad. We do things like professional letter writing, which is not something that's traditionally taught in a law school, but so critical for your success in the profession. We also work on skills that distinguish our students. So for example, we've recently really dug into ChatGPT and how that's going to impact the profession and the practice of law and what you can bring to the table being knowledgeable about tools like that. So it's really exciting to work with students on developing those skills and preparing you to be that well-rounded, practice-ready professional. But part of that, the second part of that is your career and your career advancement. I'm going to turn it to Amelia.
Thanks, Jen. So going along with that, another prong in our approach to student professional development is your career success. So we want to set students up for premium career opportunities throughout their law school career and afterwards. So to that end, the work of the Office of Career Strategy and Advancement is closely integrated with the professional development curriculum in order to maximize your efforts. The Office of Career Strategy offers all the traditional career advising and job search tools, such as individualized career counseling, assistance with job searching, having a job board where we post jobs, recruitment programs throughout the academic year, employer outreach and development, which is very near and dear to my heart, and continuing to expand and grow the network of Villanova, and individualized support for whatever different applications, fellowship applications, judicial clerkships, as Jen mentioned, mock interviewing programs, resume reviews. So just all of those things to help you get along your way and to secure positions that will advance your career as you move forward in the legal field. And I will turn it over to my colleague Janine.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm welcome and really excited to have you here. And as I'm going to talk to you very briefly about pro bono and public service and public interest and what that flavor looks like here at the law school, I'm reminded of something that we have in our weekly newsletter that I have a little section called Pro Bono Buzz. So I feel like I'm doing a live version of this buzz about pro bono just for a few minutes. And I just want you to know that don't let the brevity in my presentation think it's commensurate to what we do here. I encourage you to go on our website, and you can see more in depth about the different offerings and ways that you can plug into pro bono work and public interest careers post law school. So that being said, public service and pro bono initiatives, what does that mean? Well, for example, we have, again, more on our website, but we have facilitated pro bono opportunities, for example, where we already have a special relationship set up. But you don't have to, if you have that service mind, you don't have to go out of your way or go out to try to figure out where can I plug in to do work. We do the work for you, and we already have it fully staffed internally. And therefore, you can come in and say, where do I sign up? It is on the website too. And it's just a very easy way for you to get plugged in, and the opportunities that flow back and forth, meaning not just you helping folks who normally couldn't afford to pay for legal assistance, but what you receive in return. And that is just numerous, more than I have time to say. Another thing we just started last month in February is called Luring Together. Super exciting, and that is something that will continue to grow and grow very quickly. Luring Together is an opportunity that we pair law firms with our students. They pair together to work on cases pro bono that we receive through our legal aid or community partners. And we launched Elder Justice Clinic last month and a Housing Justice Clinic. It is really amazing. Our law firm partners so far have been Blank Rome, and our legal aid partner is Senior Law Center for the Elder Justice Project. And for our Housing Justice Project, we partner with LASP, which is Legal Aid of Southeastern Pennsylvania. It's the largest legal aid provider outside of Philadelphia County, and also with the Defenders Association from Delaware County. And it's just been really amazing opportunities for our students. They go and do pro bono work, and then they network with those attorneys that they're working with. It just so happens yesterday, or Monday rather, we had one of our clinics for Housing Justice Project. And today, one of the students came into my office just to say what an amazing opportunity it was for her to have access to 13 attorneys from various practice areas, various levels of experience. And she said, I got to sit and speak with them, work with them. And just to actually hear that this morning before I'm speaking to you now, this is really, really exciting. If you can't tell how excited I am. So we just have a lot of opportunities, and they continue to grow. And quickly to talk about, and I kind of put 1 and 2 together. So that's bullet A at 1 and 2, how you can volunteer. Quickly on the third piece, how can you contribute to initiatives? I'm super excited about this because I'm the inaugural director, as I stated. I've been in this position since July, and being at this point in time, being here means you have the opportunity to actually help bring ideas, bring things that are important to you. And because I am new as still this position, I'm in a position to hear it and receive it. And I will say quickly as an example, a graduating 3L, Angela Boyer, she's the president of Pro Bono Society, one of our student organizations. And as soon as I came here, I want to say it was September, if it wasn't August, she came to my office and she said, I'm really passionate about criminal justice, criminal law justice, and access to justice rather in the criminal law area. And she asked me about the Pardon Project. I've never heard about the Pardon Project. I've never heard about it. But I said, this sounds great. Let me take a look. Long story short, if you go to our website, you'll see the Pardon Project is one of our new facilitated pro bono opportunities where law students work with a person who is trying to get their criminal record pardoned by the governor. That didn't exist before September. A student brought that to me and it exists now. So it's a really exciting time. I don't know if, other law schools are able to be that responsive, but because we are building and building and building, you really have an opportunity. If you have that's something that's in your spirit or something that you want to be a part of, you really have an opportunity to be a part of that fabric here. So thank you so much. And I certainly hope I've said enough of this buzz that if you have any more questions or hopefully if you come here, you certainly find me and we can just talk more about how you would like to be a part of this brand new area that we're really building out here. So thank you.
Thanks, Janine. Okay, so why is all this important? Why do we talk about this? Why do we focus where we focus? This is important because employers want professionals with the skills we discussed earlier, with the competencies we talked about, the things that aren't taught in a traditional law school curriculum. They want people who are well-rounded and ready to practice right away. And that's our focus, is really getting you ready to be out there, making that transition from a student to a proactive, self-motivated, self-directed, and driven new young lawyer. Okay, so how do we know we're successful at this? This is just a sampling of where our grads from the class of 2022 are employed. You can see that it's all across the practice area and the practice setting spectrum. Lots of different types of organizations, different types of roles. We're really excited that people are fulfilling their vision for what success looks like. And I'll say a little more about that. So statistics. You all have seen, hopefully, the employment outcomes that we have that are posted on the Villanova Law website. We're proud of our outcomes, and if you haven't taken a look, we encourage you to take a look for those details. I would encourage you to, I really like data and I like to go back to the sources of data. And so I would encourage you to take a look at that data for all the schools that you're considering. Schools are required to post a chart of their outcomes for the last 3 years of graduates by mid-April. So the class of 2022, which is the most recent graduating class, will be posted in mid-April. So go back to that, go back to those charts, go back to that raw data, and look at the things that are important to you to try to define or understand where the focuses are for the schools that you're looking at. All right, so I'm going to conclude here with our presentation, and I'll say we'll take any questions that you might have in the chat. Feel free to drop them in there. Okay, what does the on-campus interview process look like? That's a great question. The on-campus interview process is right now, it's mostly virtual because that's what most of the employers are looking for. We, however, will host employers on campus if that's what they prefer. We're just seeing that most employers are looking for that first on-campus screening interview to be virtual because frankly very efficient for them to do it that way. So we have a database of all the jobs where we post jobs, both on-campus interviews, places where you might apply directly, places that are collecting resumes, maybe referring to their portal. We have a big website where we keep all that information. That tool also helps us run our on-campus interview process. So you will be notified that an employer is in particular going to interview on campus. And then from there you apply, the employer selects who they want to interview. We run a schedule for them so that they can, have a schedule of their day, what they're going to do. And then we host on a platform that we use called Flow Recruit that maybe some of you are already familiar with, where it's basically like a glorified Zoom, but much nicer, where you have a virtual interview room where the employers get to go through the process of screening you. And then, of course, here, if you're going to interview on campus, our suite of offices has a string of interview rooms. So we have private, quiet places for interviews to be conducted on campus. Okay. Wow. I see lots of things here. Okay, there's a question about resumes. We do a lot of work with resumes with students, and we have a particular format that we will share with students to build their resume in. I will say that legal employers, for legal resumes, they're generally a little more structured, conservative looking than maybe other resumes you've seen for other types of roles and types of work. So most of the time, an individual's sort of undergraduate resume needs quite a lot of work to move it into what a legal resume would look like. And so that's why we have formats and tools. We have a Word version of a template for folks to use. We have a workbook that people can use to go through to build their descriptions and do all the things they need to do to have really robust descriptions of the things they've done in the past. And then we host a mandatory for the 1Ls resume review. So your resume will be reviewed by a career advisor. And we host drop-in sessions where you can just pop in and ask a question about what your resume looks like. And then we review resumes all along, because your resume is a living document. It has to change. It has to be revised frequently, and sometimes in particular for different types of employers. So it is a big part of what we do. Okay, let me see. Would you, I'm going to read. I won't read it out loud. Oh, alumni. So I'll even let Amelia, well, I will ask Amelia to jump in on this one too. Our alumni are terrific, and we have a lot of opportunities for students to connect with alumni and be able to leverage those opportunities for summer and post-grad employment. So we have a alumni mentor program. The Minority Alumni Society, which Janine is a very active leader in, also has a mentoring program. We have a number of practice area panels, about 40 actually practice area panels in the fall, where alumni come and talk about their practice settings and what they do. And we've seen students actually connect with those alumni after those panels and get jobs out of those because they've connected about a particular practice area that they're really interested in. We also have the Villanova Law Alumni Association, of course, which is very active. Students go to a number of events with the Alumni Association. And we have something called the Nova Network, which is a broader network of alumni. It's a database at first, but you can interact in other ways on that platform. And that includes law and undergraduate alumni. Amelia, or Janine, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you covered a lot of it. I will say that the Villanova Alumni Network, they all very much want to help each other out. And so I mean, as you know, especially in my role, I get phone calls and emails daily from former alumni that, you know, if they do have a need in their office, they want to come back to this school first. And so they, you know, I interact with a lot of them that are interested in helping out fellow Villanova law students. And even if there isn't a need, a lot of times they'll meet for just kind of informational interviews, just to have coffee, just to share their experiences and help students with building out their network. So the Villanova Law Alumni Network spreads nationally. So there's people all over among a bunch of different fields that are all very willing to speak with students and hopefully employ them.
Janine, do you want to say something about MAS Mondays?
Sure. So as Jennifer stated, the Minority Alumni Society is specifically for affinity groups alumni, and I'm on the executive board for that. And one of the programs or initiatives that we have as for alumni for current students are Mass Mondays. And Mass Mondays occur once a month, where the alumni, they alternate between in-person or virtual, and students are able to ask questions, kind of get one-on-one feedback, bounce questions off of us or whomever is volunteering. I've only done it once. So it's not going to just be me every month, I promise. But it's just a really good way to commune, especially if you are from a minoritized background. It gives you an opportunity to perhaps have a space, perhaps that you feel is safe, and with folks who have already gone through certain areas of legal experience. And what was that experience for you? And as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking the one time I did it a year ago, one person asked about natural hair and asked, should I have my hair natural when I go on an interview, for example? And I'm like, well, I can give you my perspective on that and that and the third. So it's just a really, really great opportunity for alumni to give back. They're always welcome or happy to do it rather. And I will say the in-person ones always has food. So when the in-person Mass Mondays, plenty of food, and people certainly love that, especially during finals time.
Thanks, Janine. There's a question here about 1L students and reaching out to the Career Services Office. So we have really crafted the professional development curriculum in a way that really strongly incorporates the Career Services Office during that 1L curriculum or 1L time throughout, especially very heavily in the fall. We time those together in a way that makes sense for your job search and when you should be getting ready to start thinking about your job. Currently, what we try to do is have students refrain from really interacting until October 1st, because we want you to get that really solid footing academically. That transition to law school is, it's an academic transition for sure. It's a different way of learning, a different way of preparing for exams, a different way of preparing for class. So we want you to make sure that you've got that solid footing before starting to really focus on careers. That being said, all the way up till that beginning of October, we're working with you through professional development to do the groundwork so that you're ready for those first meetings with your career strategy advisors. I'll also rewind to say that every student is assigned a career strategy advisor through the office so that you always have someone you can go to for any questions. You're not limited to meeting with your assigned advisor. Lots of folks, pop around to different advisors. But you are assigned someone that is like your person. We also have an on-call advisor every single day so that if you have a question or something comes up, there's someone available and committed to answering your question. You don't have to wait, right? You don't have to wait to see a career advisor. So we want to make sure that we're really prioritizing the students and making sure that you're getting the service that you should expect from your career office. Anything else? Great question about writing samples. So we do jobs applications will often include the request for a writing sample. And so that is an important piece of your application materials. So we work very closely with our legal writing faculty, and we have a writing specialist on campus to make sure that your writing sample is top-notch. So the career office doesn't work directly on the writing sample, on the substance of that sample, but we partner with the specialists in the building, the writing specialists and legal writing faculty, to make sure that you're getting that good feedback on your writing sample. And it really is the best piece of writing that you can deliver in connection with your application materials. I also say for 1Ls, the question is a little bit about creating one too. For 1L students, by the time you have to deliver a writing sample, you'll have one that you've prepared through the legal writing class. So, part of that is, the expectation is that you would deliver sort of that first assignment, that first big assignment that you do in the fall. Okay, there was another question about writing samples. Yeah, you'll use your writing from your legal writing class at first, and then later, when you're a 2L and you're a 3L and you've had other types of writing, maybe some research you've done over the summer, other things that you've done for jobs that you have permission to use the writing sample, you'll have different kinds of writing samples after that. Okay. Yeah. So there's a question about 1L summer positions and when 1Ls typically start start applying for those. 1Ls will typically start applying for those mostly late fall semester, early spring semester is when it will start. That's been shifting over time. It used to be that, recruiting wouldn't happen until January or February. Now it's starting to creep into December. We keep an eye on that market for you. We keep an eye on what's going on and when employers are starting to bubble up for 1Ls to make sure you have that information timely. So in some ways, you don't now have to sort of worry about when 1Ls will start applying for jobs because it likely will change again next year, and we're on top of that for you in constant communication with employers. And in fact, Amelia's whole job, right, is to be in that constant communication with employers. All right. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a real pleasure. I think that the admissions office is going to put it, yep, your next roundtable information is in there along with the link. Please don't hesitate to reach out to the admissions team if you have any other questions. They'll get in touch with us if it's something we can help with. And we hope to see you all soon. Thanks so much.